Hey everybody, this is Valor again, bringing you another Oblivion build guide, and I got a really special one for you today. I'm going to be showing you kind of how to build the perfect monk archetype, and yeah, I love the monk. The monk is one of my favorite archetypes in gaming, and Oblivion does a really cool thing, which I'll show you, which is something that if you've come from Skyrim, where the monks, hand-to-hand combat's not really much of a viable play option. In Oblivion it is. So this is actually something really special. So it's probably my favorite archetype that I've done. So yeah, let's go ahead and just hop into it, and I'll kind of show you how I like to build the monk archetype. So we're here at the sewers, where we can just kind of customize our our character. I went with Breton. As you know, Breton's my favorite. They honestly just they're so powerful. And the way I play monk is I lean obviously into the hand-in-hand combat, but also I lean pretty heavily into magic because since you don't have any weapons, the next best thing to use after your fists is magic. And I think it also is very thematic because you're kind of like using your body and mysticism and spirit and destruction magic to do just all sorts of crazy damage. So Breton's like a really clear winner for me because you get these high intelligence and willpower. However, I will say it does suck a little bit that the strength is so low and your endurance is so low because you need those stats. You're not going to have a whole lot of health, and strength is the stat that governs the attack damage of your fists, which can feel a little awkward in a way, but this is where it's going to be up to you how you kind of want to take your monk. Do you want to lean more into the speed and magic side of it, or do you want to lean a little bit more into punching things? So that's going to depend a little bit on you, but I'll show you what I do. I go full kind of like the speed build, just because I love it. It's a lot of fun, as you'll see when I get to the gameplay section. So I go high rock because the difference between high rock and the sisters is just sisters give you a little strength, extra strength. High rock gives you the extra speed. I go speed. I'd say many of these classes do work, but I'd say I mean, as you know, like at this point, you can make any race work for any build. I just think the Breton is the clear winner because this extra magic is so nice. And you get a boost to a lot of your magic skills. So this is my build. Obviously, you should make him bald because he's a monk, but I'll also leave that up to you. For birth sign, so I know I'm really big into the thief because it got the speed, and that's a really important stat for the monk. And luck is great because it affects everything. However, agility is kind of a dump stat for us. There is almost nothing that agility is going to do for us because we're leaning into magic, and strength is the one that affects your fist attacks. So I'd say honestly for this build, the best next stat birth sign is going to be the mage. And the reason for that is I did the math, and 1 point of intelligence gives you 2 points of magicka, right? So this is essentially 50 magicka is essentially 25 points of intelligence. Now I know intelligence technically also supposedly affects your magicka regeneration, so 25 points of intelligence is better than just flat 50 points of magicka. However, this still makes this a very powerful birth sign, especially if, like me, you'll lean really heavily into the magic casting part of being a monk. However, I really just want to go with the steed because even though the extra magic is going to be really nice, we're already going Breton. Breton gets an extra 50% magicka, and I just love the speed. The speed is really fun. You'll see when you pump that speed stat, moving around like like a little monk, just flying through, punching everything, casting your spells. It's a really cool, fun playstyle. So I think pumping this early just lets us get into that like high mobility playstyle that is actually a lot of fun and is what makes the monk so kind of interesting. But some of these some of these other ones are good too. But I personally think this is probably technically the best, but Steed is the most fun. So I go Steed because I got a need for speed. For the class, as always, you can look at the monk class over here, and it's, what is it even under? It's under, oh, right here. It's absolute garbage. They have you using security and marksman, and yeah, so we don't want any part of that. So we go custom class. So as you'll see, I'm gonna pick magic because most of my major skills are gonna be in the magic tree. So, and I just want to level them fast. I want to level up my magic skills really fast. So I go magic. That's my specialization. I think that's the best one for a monk. For these attributes, your primary stats are going to be, well, a little bit up to you, right? If you're going to be punching a lot of stuff, you want strength, and you want to boost it, especially since as the Breton, you start with low strength. If you think you're going to be punching a lot, go strength. However, as I said before, I'm all about that speed, and so that's going to be my stat. As far as your secondary stats, it's definitely going to be, I think, between intelligence, willpower, strength, and endurance. All of these are important. Like, your endurance is also going to be low. You're going to take some hits. We're wearing light armor, or no armor, honestly, so you're going to get hurt, but you know, we're going to have alteration and restoration, so that'll help with tankiness. The Breton already is a little resistant to magic, so it's not as bad as it sounds, but endurance is not something you want to completely neglect as you level. Intelligence is also something that you can lean into a little bit later, but because we're going to be using lots of spells, you want to boost intelligence, willpower, of course. So I'm going to go ahead and I start speed and willpower because I want that speed stat. Willpower is just great because you actually burn through fatigue a lot as you're sprinting around. So having more fatigue is good. These will probably be my primary stats, and then lean more intelligence, strength later on. And if I start dying a lot, maybe endurance. But really, agility is a dump stat. Personality, as always, in my opinion, dump stat. Luck, again, it's really expensive to raise luck, but it's not a bad skill. It's not a bad skill at all. So for our actual skills here, for me, athletics is one I usually don't recommend because it just levels up a lot on its own, and you don't want it to like boost really fast. But however, half of what makes the monk is just his blinding speed, right? You're gonna be flying around, punching everything, casting your spells, and if they can't hit you, then why does it even matter how squishy you are, right? So I'm going athletics, and since we don't, we're not really leaning into any of this other stuff. Hand to hand, that's it. That's our combat stat. We won't be using any weapons. It's all about using our body to just like beat the crap out of our enemies. For spells, this is where you can go crazy, right? Restoration, I think, is like absolute must, right? It's one of the things that's going to make us tanky. It's also healing. It's thematic. It's exactly what we want. Destruction is probably the most important one. There's all these spells called on touch spells, and you're basically like palm striking, doing elemental attacks with your palm strikes. It's freaking awesome. It's what makes this whole build so fun. You're punching and then you do an elemental palm strike. It's just an absolute blast, and obviously destruction is the way to go. Super thematic. It's where you're going to get most of your damage from. Alteration and mysticism, this is a little bit up to you if you want both, if you want neither, but I think mysticism works really well thematically with the monk. It lets you just do all sorts of fun things. Alteration is like another really fun one, just fun utility spells, right? And since we're not taking a lot of combat-oriented like major skills, it's like, why not? Why not just like take all these awesome ones? The ones I wouldn't use is I've never really used alchemy a whole lot just because I just don't bother, right? Conjuration and illusion, I think, are very much not in line with how a monk would play. I think thematically, for role-playing reasons, I would not use these. And since you're already leaning into like 4 different schools of magic, just, don't bother with these ones. For the stealth tree, this is where I'm going to leave it up to you. Like, light armor is probably the smart choice, right? Because we are going to be squishy. We have low endurance, and so to pick this as a major skill means it's going to level up a little bit faster, which means in theory we'll get a little tankier as we take hits, and you will be taking hits. You're going to be in melee range a lot. Even with your speed, you'll take hits. That's just how it goes. However, Acrobats is another one that I think is really fun because I think it just fits that fun like monk playstyle of like you're fast, you can jump high, and it also gives you some pretty cool, fun little ability which I'll show you. So I'm gonna go acrobats, but I think light arms are a great pick. And if you want to drop one of these things, then you can go both. But this is my monk, and I think it's an absolute blast to play. Might just be my favorite play style, my favorite archetype that I've put together. And again, coming from Skyrim, this was never really even an option. So to have the ability to play this play style where like I'll show you, fists are actually very effective. You get some really cool like perks over here, right? So as you increase your hand-to-hand combat, you get some pretty cool things. Like you can actually now block, right? You can block and like recoil the enemy, which is pretty cool. Um, and then as it gets higher, you can like disarm enemies and you start to do lots of fatigue damage with your fist strikes. So really cool that there's like kind of like these some perks for doing hand-to-hand combat. I will also say, as you'll see in the gameplay section, that the animations for hand-to-hand combat are really smooth. I feel like some of the animations in this game for melee fighting are a little bit hit or miss. I found like some of the long swords and two-handed swords just to feel a little clunky. But the hand-to-hand combat, it feels smooth. It really just like you're combo striking, and then you throw in a little like, one of your little spells, and it flows really well. It's actually fun, really fun playstyle, and you get some cool perks with it. Obviously, athletics, this is just fun. You're going to get boosted along with your speed and athletics. Boom. You're going to be like flying around. Acrobats, this is another one I kind of wanted to point out. This right here, you get this fun little dodge mechanic, which again, I feel like just is so cool and thematic for the monk. Is it really that useful? Probably not, but it's fun. And I feel like this is what the monk is all about. This is not the most optimized build for like making the game as easy as possible, but I feel like these Elder Scrolls games are all about A, role playing, and B, just having an absolute blast. And for me, as someone who's just like absolutely biased towards the monk, in any game where I can play monk, this is it. This is like my favorite kind of play style. And it's unique. It's a little unique. It's a little different. Not a lot of like games even like allow you to play as a monk's play style. So as you can tell, I love it. I'm very enthusiastic about it. So this is pretty much more or less it. As I kind of pointed out before, like you kind of need a lot of stats, but it's gonna be up to you how you want to lean. I'll probably just start by boosting my speed and get my willpower and intelligence up, and then as secondary stats, probably strength and endurance. So it's a little bit up to you, but yeah, honestly, most of these stats will want at some point. But the beautiful thing about restoration is later on you can fortify your stats and just get a big buff. So that pretty much does it for this. I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys. I'll just cut to some gameplay, show you guys some of the gameplay of me just taking out a fort, and yeah, we'll go from there. Alrighty guys, so here we are. I made it over here to a fort where we're just gonna go in and just show these goblins the business, right? So the fun thing too is because we're not using any weapons, you can just load up your quick bar slot with all your awesome spells. So here we are. This is like your melee kind of magic ability. So here we just do our little electric palm strike. Teach him the ways of the fist. I don't know if you can tell if you've played other builds like the paladin build or some of the other ones that I've some of the other builds they don't move as fast as this, you know? This build is just you're just flying around. Here we are. And just kind of combo back and forth between casting your on touch spells. And you can use the ranged spells too. Personally I really like these heal up before we go into the other fight. Also, let's go ahead and cast a protect spell over here. Go back to got some absorb health. We got some pretty good abilities. protect life. Go in and boom. Just like that. Up. But you're just flying around, man. Like, I just feel so fast. It's so fun. Boom. Obviously not playing stealthy at all. We're just going in there and just delivering some righteous fury. A little looting. Of course. Boom. Those on-touch spells, they hit so hard, man. Like, just almost one-shot that goblin. Frost is really fun. Electrics too. They have different... I'm not sure about this one, but in Skyrim I know like shock would like drain people's magic. I don't know if it does in this. I hear the combat music. Oh, hey. Boom, boom. So here, I want to show you this little trick. I kind of showed it off a little bit in my other video, but on this very hard lock, you can do this crazy thing where you basically try to find it, see where it's there, where it's sticking a little bit. Whenever you're going up, see, there it's sticking a little bit, boom. Wait till I'm going up on the thing. See, that's not gonna work, so this one here, this one's sticking. Boom, just like that. It's oh, hello.
Am I supposed to be impressed?
Yes, you are supposed to be impressed. Just like that, dude. Never even stood a chance, man. First. So, I hope that was clear enough for you to see kind of what I was doing, but you can cheese the locks so easy in this game. Like, that was a very hard lock, and like, my lock picking skill is like, I don't even know, man. It's 9, and I just, without breaking a single lock, so it's a pretty fun, just honestly, like, I like that there's a way to just cheese it, because who wants to really put their points in leveling up lock picking, right? Oh shoot. Trying to use some traps. Oh, good thing I can heal myself. We're just about here at the end. One more big boy. Let's go. Ooh. Little tankier, are you? Not tanky enough, my friend. Not tanky enough. Oh shoot, he actually did some damage. So, as you can see, we're not the tankiest boy around, right? Take some damage, but honestly, that's what the heals are for, right? And if you're really in trouble, just shoot. Those. Well, that pretty much does it, guys. This is probably going to be my last build guide for Oblivion. I've had a lot of fun making these different builds, but you know, there's only so many different builds you can do. I might make some other videos about it with like just gameplay, maybe show some like late game gameplay of some of these builds, because I know these were all like early game. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed these videos. Let me know what your thoughts are. And I'd love to hear your opinion on what you think of the Oblivion Remaster as a whole. I personally love it. I'm a huge Skyrim fan. I've enjoyed a lot of these Bethesda RPGs. And obviously this is the first, like, well, I'd say true. I know Skyrim has gotten so many like remasters, but this was like a true like remaster. I thought they did a really good job. The performance could be a little better for me, but other than that, I think they did a really good job of keeping it true to the original while improving the few little things that really probably needed to be fixed, like the leveling system. That was just so archaic and so obtuse, really, honestly. So I love that they tweaked the things that needed to be tweaked, but kept it really true to the original. So yeah, I think they did a great job. I really would love to see, I know there's rumors about them doing Oblivion or not Oblivion, Fallout 3 remake. That'd be amazing. I loved Fallout 3. I think a full like remake like this in the Fallout 3 would just be chef's kiss. Love to see it. So yeah, just let me know what your thoughts are, and if there's a game in the Elder Scrolls series that you would love remade and reimagined like this, let me know, man. I'd love to talk to you guys about it. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. I love making these videos and I love sharing them with you. So please, I read the comments and I would love to talk with you guys more about your thoughts. Thank you so much for watching, guys.